Everyone, welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast. Today with us, we have George Hage with us. He is founder at Wave Connect. We're going to talk about a bunch of interesting things today. George, can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about Wave Connect?
Yeah, definitely. First, thanks for having me, Charles. Appreciate it. So pretty much I'm the founder of Wave. What we're trying to do is help people build more meaningful connections that drive business through the use of digital business cards. We're really trying to bridge the gap between everything you have to offer online and the in-person space, because it's just a bit weird that we're using a 3x6 piece of paper to showcase everything we do nowadays. But yeah, so that's pretty much what we do in a nutshell.
All right. Well, nice to have you, George. So tell us a bit more about where the idea came from and why you decided to launch your own business.
Yeah, for sure. So the idea initially came from just, why are we doing old things when everything is moving to a more digital trend? Like everything is moving towards a contactless, more tech-friendly alternative. But we still have people going around networking events, passing out paper, and knowing that the statistic is 90% of people tend to throw them out. It just never made logical sense for me to be like, hey, I'm going to pass out a piece of paper. There has to be something else that we can do to kind of leverage everything you have to offer online. And eventually, Apple unlocked their NFC functionality for phones above iPhone XS. So that just opened up a whole new market for us to leverage NFC and QR codes to be able to exchange info.
That's pretty nice. What about networking? I didn't do quite a lot of it, but starting my career, I went to a lot of networking events and I got zero business out of it. And I thought, okay, I need to take my car, go there, shake a bunch of hands, meet some uninteresting folks that have something to sell me. What's the future of networking? Is it still a thing?
Well, for me, it's a thing. I find that networking has helped me achieve quite a lot of stuff in terms of where I am today in my business. Most of the people closest to me in my circle regarding Wave, I've met at networking events. So here's a couple examples. So the first example would be the individual who does the grants for me. His name's Rafael. I met him at a networking event. And the funny thing about networking events is if you go with the intention of selling, you end up not selling anything. If you go in with the intention of building a connection and providing value to that individual, some way the universe ends up working in your favor, and then people end up doing things for you. So funny enough is sometimes I get free legal stuff done by my friend of mine who I've met at a networking event. So that's something that's benefited me. The grant guy that I work with, I've met at a networking event. He's helped me secure almost $90,000 in grants because I met him in person. We had built a new connection. So, and I find these are things that I would not have been able to do if I didn't meet them in person. It would have been more of a sales transaction. I probably would have went to another firm, got a Zoom call, got sold, and I wouldn't have really built something meaningful. So for me, it's helped quite a lot. And I guess the way I kind of play it is, I don't go there with the intention of selling. I just go there with the intention of finding common ground, building a connection. And then if something moves forward from there, then it moves forward.
Is there a more 2023 way to do networking? Okay, checking everyone that it said they would attend the event on LinkedIn, doing your background search and saying, okay, these 10, I want to have a conversation with. Is there a more calculated, techie way to do networking nowadays?
I like the way you think, Charles. It's like checking the data, regressing it, seeing which ones of our interest, and then going there.
Printing their pictures, stalking them.
It's a very, very growth business-minded way of thinking of networking. Is pretty solid. To be honest with you, I've never done that, but that's a great idea. To go ahead and see people on LinkedIn who are going to attend an event or Eventbrite or things like that, doing your research on these people. And then eventually when you go there, start discussing with them. But again, I find it's very odd. But when you go and you try and meet somebody, humans have a sense of smelling the bullshit. If you go and your intention is not clear of just building a connection, your intention is to go and sell or get from point A to point Z, and that person is the means to getting there, they kind of catch on quite quickly. So really the way I try and flow like water when I'm at a networking event. I just attend, I meet people, and then eventually, the conversation turns into something that's beneficial for the both of us. And sometimes, yes, I have to say it is a waste of time, but most of the times the gems that you do find actually turn out to be super beneficial.
Yeah, interesting. And what if there's someone that you absolutely want to meet? There's this famous investors or famous author at this networking event or whatever. What do you do to get to them if they're already in the conversation? Like, do you interrupt like an asshole? Like, what do you do exactly?
Okay, so I've seen this quite a lot. So I attend a lot of recruitment events. So you have one recruiter that's getting like ganged by 20 individuals, right? So typically what I would say is just stand there and just greet, like, hey, sorry for the interruption. My name is George. Do you mind if I join the conversation? Typically that never goes wrong. They're like, yeah, for sure, because they're open to networking, they're open to getting to talk to people, and that's why they're there, is to meet people. So first, don't just stand there awkwardly. I've seen some people just stand there and stare at me, and I'm just like, you can ask like, hello, can I join the conversation? And I'm sure that they won't have any problem. Eventually, it gets them alone time with the person. And
Okay, I thought the connection was bugging or something. Tell me about the actual business that you have right there. Like, where do you print, for a lack of better words, these cards that you have? What's the process of building these things, the QR codes, the bracelet, the band? Is that made in China, like, or do you 3D print them? How does that go?
yeah, great question. So there's two options with Wave, right? There's the completely digital option where you have a QR code on your phone and you can use it to exchange information. We have a lot of people who are now opting into that option. But you also have like the median where people are so familiar with having a paper business card that they need some sort of intermediary to be able to kind of get to adopt the idea of a digital business card. They need like a middle ground because they don't like to go from like physical to completely digital. They need that transition. And this is why we have those physical products. It builds something of familiarity. So really the way it works is, yes, we get the cards. We used to have suppliers in the UK and in China. We have the cards encoded with a chip. They get delivered to us. And for custom cards, we have a local manufacturer here in Montreal that does all the printing for all the custom logos.
That's pretty cool. So say that I buy this Metal Wave smart cards, margins must be pretty high on that. They must be like 95% or something like that.
Something around those lines. Yeah, the margins are massive.
Wow.
But not as big. They're not as big as the SaaS though. The hosting costs are so low compared to SaaS. It feels like the margins are infinite.
Tell us about the SaaS.
Yeah, definitely. So yes, margins on these. So anything you get from China, the margins are huge. And I've seen a lot of businesses leverage products from China and then repackage them into a brand and then sell them. But really nothing makes you more money than SaaS. It's just, so typically the way SaaS works is like they're paying you a subscription every month. These are for the viewers who don't know what SaaS is. It's software as a service. And the margins are so high because your cost is so low. You really, the cost of that customer is just the hosting cost. And the hosting costs are already really low with AWS, Firebase, things of that nature. So your margins are really sky high, almost like 95, 96%.
Except if you hire like crazy and pay these engineers $200K a year, like most YC-backed startup do, I would guess.
You're right. Yeah, you could embed that cost into the SaaS because you need that to build the tech. But eventually, like maybe your cost, it's kind of like a marginal decrease. Your costs are high at the beginning when you're doing your user acquisition. Then eventually your costs are going down just because you have more users. The hosting cost is much smaller and you have less devs that are, providing that service to much more people. So
tell us a bit more also about like the signaling behind the card. Because for example, I bought this I got the Desjardins World Elite class the other day, and one of their benefit was getting like free access to the lounge airports. And when I arrived there, uh the lounge was full, and the card is so good looking, it's black and there's a planet in there. There's been a bunch of people that also started similar business. Was it the Fire Festival guy, Billy McFarlane or whatever his name is? And I think that's on the trend that looking good and signaling, especially when it's a card and networking, it's black, it's sleek, and it also signals that you're a bit more advanced technology wise. So tell us about the human primal needs behind the want of that card, for example.
It's great. It's crazy you bring that up because we've actually had clients come up to us and tell us, "Hey, George, your cards are working so well that clients forget the reason they came to talk to us, and then they end up talking about your company and your tech and your functionalities." But yeah, like a lot of the people, and it's crazy you say that because the black card is the one that sells the most. It's the most popular one, the black plastic one and the black metal one. And I think there's something about that style that just resonates with people. They want to make a good first impression. Rich looks like black looks kind of like rich and luxury in some sense. So I'm sure that most of the people are choosing it because it makes them feel like impressive in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think of adding a SaaS component behind Wave?
Yeah, so there is a SaaS. There's a pro feature that you can subscribe to that gives you like for pros. Yes, exactly. That gives you
$6 a month, right?
Yeah, there you go. So it gives you additional features like analytics, CRM integration. So that way, when you connect with people at these events, instead of having to go back and manually add people into your CRM, it just automates that workflow with Zapier, Zoho, Salesforce to populate your leads. Mm-hmm. And you get additional tools like team directories and things like that.
It's pretty cool. Short term, I must be guessing most of your revenue comes from the physical product, like probably 80% product, 20% SaaS. And long term, would it be fair to say 20% product and 80% SaaS, the other way around?
Yeah, you got it. Bang on. Bang on, Charles.
So it's like, do you have numbers for us? Like, how long have you been running that one? I guess like 2 years. What's the average MRR? Is it fair to say that it's between 5 and 20K?
Exactly. You got it.
Again, nice. I'm good at that, right?
You are.
What are the future plan for the company? So I'm guessing more SaaS featured. Like, what would be the product roadmap for this year?
Yeah, so we just launched Wave for Teams. It's our enterprise SaaS on the B2B side instead of the B2C side. And really that's kind of what we're scaling right now, is allowing companies to better engage with their audience using these digital business cards and to give them a chance to manage all these employee cards in one place. So to be able to update job titles, change positions, update templates, be able to centrally see all the leads that they've collected. So it's really a tool to let you track your networking activity and see if it's like ROI positive or ROI negative. And really put a number on those networking events. Because typically right now you send people to Collision, Web Summit, Rise, CS, you name it, but you have no idea, the deal flow, the pipeline, who you're connecting with, is Jim drinking a beer or is he actually connecting with people? So now you have some stuff to track and you can put a number on those events.
Are you going after some larger businesses to help their reps track these efforts? And if so, how are you going after them?
Yeah, so right now our go-to-market strategy really is to attend as many events as possible. Those people are our target market, so we are targeting like event managers, things of that nature. People are hyper focused to going to these conferences, setting up these conferences, having their team go to trade shows. Because these are the people that are on the road and are connecting and networking. So that would be our main focus.
Okay, so physically, don't do like any cold email outreach or whatsoever.
Okay, okay, yeah. So we have physical and we do cold email outreach. I do some LinkedIn outreach, more personalized outreach, and cold calls. So I'm a huge cold caller. I pick up the phone and I love to do it. It's challenging, it's hard, it's something that people don't like to do, so kind of drives me to it. But yeah, we do cold emails. I use Apollo. You set up sequences. I'm sure you know this, you're a professional at this.
Yeah, that's what we use to for clients. So how many meetings do you generate on a weekly basis?
With Apollo?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be honest with you, and you tell me. But I find cold email very tough. I find it very, very tough, just because you really have to understand what's your target market and the way in which you need to speak to them. Like the messaging is so important. Aside from all the bullshit you get with like figuring out your DNS and like setting up SendGrid and all that kind of stuff. You know, first, that's a huge challenge. Getting the damn email in the person's inbox is like top of mind. And then the second thing would be like finding the perfect target market to tackle, the location, and then figuring out what's the sequence and A/B testing until it makes sense. It's such a long process, but yeah, in terms of setting up demos, I'd say probably one a week. But I don't send too many emails. I send 70 emails a week.
Yeah, need to scale that up. But I guess you're going hyper personalized, which is like another philosophy that's out there. But no, it's still pretty good, especially if you close 1 out of 4 or even 1 out of 2. That can be like substantial. And what if you close a company that has 100 reps that are gonna use that card? That's like right there. Yeah, 10,000 in your pockets. Well, at 1,000, sorry, because it's 100. Yeah, no, 10,000, and basically $600 a month MRR. So that's pretty cool. I'm guessing it's pretty rare, but when the jackpot hits, it makes it pretty worthwhile. Also, cold email, it's scalable, and well, you cannot be at 10 events at the same time. How big is your team right now?
So we're 4. It's myself, a full stack developer, project manager, and a graphic designer.
Nice. Do you have 100% ownership, or did you give some of that up to the dev guy?
No, I own 100%.
It's pretty cool, man.
Bootstrapped,
well, I mean, yeah, it's pretty impressive what you've built in that amount of time. George, what main lesson would you give to most entrepreneurs and founders that are starting out, if they're uncertain or if they started and they're struggling? What would you tell them?
Yeah, definitely. First, build a safety net. Whether that's how I had the confidence to start. I had like saved up money for 3 years because I knew I wanted to do something myself. So I built the foundations to not get scared. So I knew that if I fail, I have a safety net that can cover for me. I know I'm going to have a roof over my head. And safety net doesn't just have to be monetary. It could be family as well. You have somebody you can crash at a house or things like that. It gets tough sometimes. So first, have a safety net. Second, I would say don't stop learning, continue to read. And then lastly, I would say is learn sales.
That's good, man. Where can people find out more about you and your company?
Yeah, so I can send you the link to my digital business card. There they can have all the information to our websites, all my socials, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great. So thank you so much, George, for today. Hope you'll do well in your business. I'm pretty sure you will. And see you on the flip side.
Yeah, definitely, Charles.